What's up everybody? Check this out. No engine. Yeah, that's right. I took out the engine on my Iron 83. And you know what? I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it anyways. And it worked out. So I'm getting ready to finish this 1275 kit upgrade. And I learned a few things along the way, and I'm gonna let you know what I figured out. So stay tuned. What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Well, I know it's been a hot minute since my last video, but I'm sitting here next to what remains of my Harley Iron 883. And I know this video's been a long time coming, but I wanted to make a video on my experience so far with, as a non-mechanic, and what it took to get to this far so far in the process. And what I mean by that is like, what have I done so far and what my experiences are? Because I've never worked on motorcycles before. I've never done an engine upgrade. I mean, this is not my forte at all, but I am good at figuring things out and getting my hands dirty and just doing it. So this is a little bit of a daunting task, and I didn't want to set out to make a video, a how-to video, because frankly, I'm using other videos from Hammer Performance and a couple other ones on how to disassemble the Sportster engine and reassemble it with the 1275 kit. I didn't want to make a step-by-step video because honestly, the Hammer Performance one is really good. And huge shout out to Dan at Hammer Performance, because that video he has breakdown in a series on disassembling the engine and then reassembling the engine is very good. And I've been using those as a guide. So I didn't want to do the same video over again. So I wanted to talk more about my experience so far. And you know, for someone out there who's thinking about upgrading their 883 to a 1275 and you know, isn't mechanically inclined, you know, can you do it yourself? And like, I think the answer is yes. If you can follow good instructions and you have a decent tool set. You know, I am guilty of having a lot of tools. I am kind of like a tool whore. You know, I like having tools, not just for mechanical stuff, but you know, I like building other things, woodworking and other projects. You know, I like to build things. So I took on this project thinking I definitely have enough tools. I had to buy a couple things I didn't have, but overall I had what I needed. So experience-wise, what have I learned so far? Well, you know, to start, I had to take apart some of the stuff on, like here, the gas tank, the seat. I took off the rear fender as well because I'm finishing that up as well. That I chopped. I'm going to be painting that in another video. But once you get all the major stuff out of the way, disassembling the heads and taking the jugs out is fairly straightforward. It's actually not that hard. It's just a handful of screws if you follow the order that they need to come out. Like I said, there's a great video from Hammer, and there's Lowbrow has another good one. And if you just follow the instructions, you know, removing the screws and then getting the head screws off, the cylinders come out the jugs in the cylinders come out pretty easily. And that's where it gets real from there. This is the 883 jug right here, and you can see the smaller cylinder bore here for the 83. And this is the 883 piston head right here. And basically, once you get the jug off and you remove the C-clip that holds the wrist pin in, it comes out pretty easily, and then you are left with the push rods and the open crankcase. So that's where it got real, and that the engine was disassembled and I had an open crankcase. You know, obviously put some shop towels in there so nothing falls in. Installing the new 1275 jugs and pistons. So I opted for the service from Hammer to pre-gap the rings and insert the piston into the heads, because I didn't have those tools to do that. I wanted to make sure that was done correctly. So the one thing that is kind of tricky is inserting the C-clip in behind the wrist pin, and even they say, like Hammer says, like this is a super important step. So I was like super nervous about doing that, and what I ended up doing was taking the old 883 piston head here and practicing with the old C-clip. and figuring out how to do it, because it is tricky, it's tight. You have to like insert it a certain direction and push real hard, and it has to click into a groove, right, that's in there. And you don't want the piston head to pop out of the jug at all. You don't want these rings to pop out and get them loose. So I was really nervous about that, and that's what actually kind of like held me up for a little bit, because I was like practicing, making sure I didn't want to F up the piston head on the 1275. So I practiced a lot just to make sure that I didn't screw it up. And once I got confident with it, it wasn't too bad. It's honestly just, I recommend just practicing with it. So anyways, where I'm at right now is I have the 1275 pistons and jugs sitting in here. Everything's sitting ready to go. All I have left to do is reinstall the heads, tighten everything down, get everything hooked back up. I gotta get the, get the throttle body back on. I gotta get the all the sensors connected. I gotta put the exhaust back on. And that's the other thing. It's like I was waiting for a new exhaust to come in, and I've been on a waiting list for already 10 weeks or something like that. And with the shortages of COVID and everything's behind the manufacturing process. I don't think I'm gonna get the new exhaust for another, probably 3-4 weeks. At least that's what I've been told. So I'm gonna put the old Bassani sweepers back on, and then I'm going to start the break-in process with this. So, overall, this wasn't a bad process. I actually really am enjoying learning about how the anatomy of a Harley motorcycle works. I've never taken apart a Harley, and I know like seasoned mechanics, this is probably a nothing job. You can do it in one day. But for someone like me who's never done it before, I really enjoyed learning about it, honestly. It's really cool to see the inner workings of the bike. Seeing the push rods, seeing the pistons, seeing how the heads open and close, even like, pulling the throttle body off and taking a look at that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you're thinking about, upgrading your 883 to a 1275 and you're kind of hesitant on whether or not you can do it yourself, if it's like a do-yourself job, yeah, I can say like, look, you can totally do it on your own. It's not hard. As long as you have the patience and the time to do it, and you definitely need some tools. I mean, you don't need a lot, but you do need a good set of socket wrenches and torque wrenches, and just overall, just good base set of tools. So a couple of things I noticed when I took apart the 883 was, I noticed how much carbon buildup is up on the 883 cylinder head. So it got me to doing some research about it, and I noticed that's like a pretty normal thing for a bike. And this bike only has like 7,000 change miles. So, I read this as common because of the breather bolts and feeding the crankcase oil and gases back through the throttle body back into the cylinder heads, and you get this buildup of carbon here. So I was doing some research, and I think I'm going to opt to do a external breather system when I put the air cleaner back on. And I was looking at the one from DK Customs, and I think I'm going to order that and get that in as I reassemble this. Because yeah, I don't want, I know it's kind of normal, but I think if I put an external breather, I won't have this much buildup on the new heads. So yeah, like I said, here it is so far. So, this is the disassembly, reassembly stage. I think the hard part's done here with the jugs and cylinders back into the bike. And the reassembly process is not too difficult. I'm gonna start on that tomorrow, and I hope to be done, rebuilt back up. And I think I'll do a video, like a time-lapse video of that, just, to show you how the bike goes back together. And then I have some work to do on the rear end here with the fender and the tail lights. And a quick story here was that right before I started working on the bike, I went out. I went out riding the bike, and it was just a ride at night after I got home from work. And I came back and I stopped and I looked at the bike and I said, "What the hell's missing?" And I realized that my license plate had completely fallen off. It was gone. It was just completely gone. And let me see if I can find it here. All that was left was this tiny bit of metal on the around the shock. It sheared clean off right here. The license plate bracket and the license plate was gone. So that was a whole saga. I had to go down to the DMV and pick up a new plate because the other one was gone. and that took a little bit of time too, but annoying. But I got a new plate now, I got a new bracket, so I want to put that on. I had to take the shock off as well. So that's gonna go back on. So stay tuned, I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna start getting back up with my videos again. I know it's been a while, and hopefully I can get back on the road in the next week or so. And I'm excited to get this bike going with the 1275 and see the difference, because you know, I really miss being on this bike. It's been a while, and I am looking for a second bike still. I just can't find one that I like. As always, you know, hit that like, comment, subscribe button below. Tell me what you think, you know. Are you thinking about doing an 83 upgrade to a 1275 or a 1250 kit? Are you worried that you might not be able to do it yourself? Because I'm telling you right now, you can do it. It's actually not that bad. It's not that hard. And I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing through it at all, because I want to make sure that I do it right. I don't want to F up this bike at all. So anyways, yeah, reassembly process. Here we go. You know, I'm going to start putting it all back together. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. So you keep riding, you stay safe, and I'll see you later, all right? All right, peace out, guys.